Okay. So today's class, we will start talking about bearing, chapter 17. Last time we finished chapter 16 and we introduced chapter 17, bearings and scale drawings. We explained a little bit what's the meaning of bearing, okay, and how can we write it, how can we read a certain bearing, okay. Now I will start by sharing my screen, so let's start. Bismillah. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we are. Let's go to previous. Bismillah. Okay. Hello. Okay, everybody with me? Okay. Last time when we talked about bearing, this is the last slide that we talked about. We said that bearing, it's a way of describing directions and position of an object related or from another object. So we said if we want to find the bearing of B from the point A, so we need a reference, we need a starting point. We said that first we draw a line between A and B, then we draw the north from A. They said from A, so I will draw my north at A and bring my protractor, so I would measure the bearing. Remember, it's due north, a clockwise direction, and it should be written in 3 figures. Okay, we said that these are the 3 things that you have to remember when we are talking about bearing, that it's always due north, you should have a starting point, due north, and you have to go clockwise direction and write it in 3 figures. Okay, so that was the last slide we talked about. Okay, now we had also this example. Okay, also we have the bearing of Q from P. So from P, that means P is your starting point. So we will draw the north at P. Okay, and we'll bring the protractor. We measure the bearing as an angle. Okay, that is clockwise direction and due north. Of course, don't forget to write it as 3 figures. Okay. These are some of the exercises that were from the book and we did together. I hope إن it will write. إن شاء الله أنا متأملة إنه we can screen pointer option. Yeah. So how can we find the bearing of a certain point? And for example, here they want you to find the bearing of B, and this is from A. And that means, you know, A is always your starting point. And in this exercise, they already drew the north for you. Okay, so due north, we always start due north. Okay, you have to bring your protractor. Your vertex is exactly at point A, and then you have to measure this angle. Okay, it's a way of measuring angles. Okay, but remember, we always start due north. That means that the north should be passing through one of your zeros. Okay, and measure your bearing. Okay, so for the first one, sorry, it's about, for example, let's say 70 degrees. The second one is also the same, but we can just go and here we are, due north. A is at the vertex, measure this angle from here to there. Okay, and I know that some of you might ask, oh teacher, how can I just find this angle? This is an angle that is more than 180 degrees. And we don't have this combined protractor that I just showed in the previous slide. So how can I do that? But I know that all of that from here to there, this is a circle. So it's 360 degrees. So simply, I just can go by, let's change the color of the pointer. Okay. مش عم بتغير اللون. طيب, so you simply can measure this angle, the small angle here, okay, and subtract from 360. So for example, if you just measure this part and let's say it was 120, so you just simply go by 360 minus, for example, I'm just saying if it was 120, and you will find the reflex, the outside angle that is in clockwise direction. Okay, so minus the 120, and you will just find the answer. Okay, the same thing you can do here. The bearing is always in clockwise direction. How can we find this angle? It's a big angle from here to there. How can we find it? We don't have that special protractor to find that. Simply measure the small part here. That is counterclockwise. This part that is counterclockwise, and subtract from 360. Okay, so these were the answers. Let's check. For example, this was 70 degrees. We don't write it in 2 digits. We write it as 3 figures. So it's 0.70. Here it's an obtuse angle, so it was 150 degrees. What about this one? How did they find it as, for example, 230? يعني that means إنه when they pointer options, خلينا نشوف الإريسر. Yeah, that means when they measured this small part here, they want to find this bearing, yes? So when they measured this small part here, they found that this small part is 130 degrees. So this angle, when we measured it, it was 130 degrees. So simply, they just subtracted the 130 from the 360, and the answer was 230 degrees. The same was applied here. If they measured this small part, seems this small part was 60 degrees. So they just subtracted 360 minus the 60, and so the answer was 300. Before we continue, any question about that? So we're measuring the counterclockwise direction, okay? The small angle, subtract from 360, and so we can find the bearing. Any question? I will stop here. Any question? Please, if you have any question, any clarification, kindly please ask. We don't have. ما عندنا ولا سؤال. برافو. تمام. Okay, let's continue. This is another question. Also, it was from our book. Okay, we just discussed the idea. Remember that in the booklet that I told you about, there are some questions related to this topic. So I would love you, of course, provided with the answer key. So I want you just please to go through it, just to practice. That's it. Okay. This is another question. This question, the diagram shows the position of a shop and a school. So we have a shop and a school. They want you to write down the bearing of the shop from the school. So the shop from the school, and this is something very important. شباب لازم ننتبه لأنه shop from the school. So where is your starting point? Your starting point is the school, okay? From the school. It's the word that is after the from, okay? So this is our starting point, due north, and we will measure the bearing. So it's from here to there. Remember, we will write it as 3 figures, okay? And it should be in clockwise direction. So if I want to answer the first one, Malo. Okay, the first answer is it's about 45 degrees. Okay, remember we don't write it as 2 numbers, we just write it as 3 figures. When we want to write down the bearing of school from the shop. Now, this is another question. How can we do that? How can we find the bearing of the school from the shop? Okay, from the shop, that means my starting point is the shop. And if I want to go as clockwise direction, due the north, that means I need to measure this angle. How can I measure a big angle like this one? It's more than 180 degrees. How can I measure that? Simply, as we said, we measure the small part here, this obtuse angle, okay? And we will subtract from, exactly, we will subtract from 360 degrees. Okay, so this is how we go through the bearing. Remember that we always go due north clockwise direction, and we write our answer in 3 figures. So any questions so far? Do you have any question before we proceed? No. Shall I continue? كمل. معاي انتو? Please just send me a thumb up so I would tell that everybody's with me. Thumb up. فروحة, thank you. Nabih, thank you for your support, and Hussam. Thank you very much, Raya. Yeah, let's continue. We need to continue with the bearing part. as we said before, the bearing is a way of defining directions, and we're talking about angles that is measured due north, clockwise direction, written in 3 figures. Okay, let's start talking about that. They want you to do the bearing of A from B. A from B. Okay, that would be easy. From B, that means B is your starting point. So north should be at B, and draw a line between A and B, and find this one, this angle from here to there. Or you always should go by what? By clockwise direction. Remember, أنا ما بروح بدور على الأسهل الأصغر، أنا بدور على clockwise direction. We measure the angle that is clockwise direction. طيب teacher, this is a big angle. How can we find that? Okay. هلا either you can, as we said before, simply measure this part. If this drawing was drawn to scale, so I would measure this part and subtract from 360. Teacher, is there any other ways? Yes, there is. Okay, this is the first part. This is a straight line, so it's 180 degree. And then I will measure the other part, and then I can add them. Okay, this is another way. Okay, so from here to there, they just measure it as 243. Okay, that's good. But check that. If I just draw a small north at A, okay, and I measure the bearing of B from A. If I just want to measure this part, that would be 063 degrees. Okay, but teacher, is there any relationship? Can you see any relationship between these two? Can you? Let's check. مين هاي؟ سارة الأسمر؟ Tell me يا سارة. Yes, سارة. أول حدا لأنه أسرع وحدة. قولي لي يا سارة.
That this angle 63, we can find it is an alternate with the angle that is right here, the small angle.
That is so down in the bottom. Yes, that is right. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, if you just check them, check that. Here we are. I just want to go by two parallel lines, the two norths. What is the relation between this small angle here in yellow and this small angle here in the bottom? They are making what? They're creating a Z letter. Check that. Here's the highlighter. Here we are. Can you see my Z letter? This is it. Thank you, Sarah. We just created a pair of alternate angles. So this small angle here is also a 63 degrees. Type teacher, what about this part? Everybody knows that this part is 180 degrees. It's a straight line. So simply just add your 180 plus the 63 and you will get the 243. So this is another way. Okay, check that. These are alternate angles. And we can just add the 63 plus the 180. And what do we have? We're doing the bearing backwards now. So as long as it should be between 0 and 360, the first part is 180, just add them. And that would be simply the answer. Here we are. This is another example, okay? They just gave you the first bearing, okay? If I asked you, listen to the question carefully. What is the bearing of B from A? Who wants to answer? Of B from A. It's already shown. There is no need to measure. Bearing of B from A. بس سارة على فكرة اللي معي عم بتشارك. يلا, I want more hands. 3 participants. Selena, yes, Silly.
It will be 77.
It will be 77. That's right. Munder? Thank you, Selena. Excellent. Munder?
Hello, teacher.
كيفك يا مس؟
الحمد لله.
Okay. Munder, what is the bearing of A from B? And how can you find it?
180 minus 77.
180 minus, did we say minus؟ ولا احنا قلنا منذر خليك مركز معي دقيقة. احنا حكينا يا منذر انه we will just add the first part. طلع and I will extend my north here. Okay. هلا we said يا منذر that the first part is 180 and we said that this small angle here in the bottom is an alternate angle with the 77. So we're minusing ولا we're adding?
We're adding.
We are adding. So 180 plus the 77, that would be
254.
على فكرة هو من اللي بيجاوب مين؟
57.
257. 7,
7.
that is right. Thank you very much, ya Munder. 257. So we will just add. Excellent, Munder. Thank you. Will you please mute yourself?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, so we just added the 180. Here we are. This is the 180 part. Excuse my writing. كثير صعب على فكرة الواحد يكتب على الماوس. Plus these are the 77 here, and we simply add them. طب if they were drawn to scale and I have a protractor, can I measure this small angle here and subtract from 360? Yes, I can. But sometimes they're not drawn to scale. انتبه كتير مهم لما بيجي السؤال teacher ننتبه إنه the question is it drawn to scale ولا لا? If I can use any information given in the question or not. Okay, part B. يلا help. Who wants to help in part B? And we have 3 participants. أنا أكرم والله أسمع فرح عشان أنا ما سمعت صوتها من حصتين. فروحة كيفك مس؟
Yeah, good.
You're good. Okay, يلا help me with that. Help me with the second one. What is the bearing? أنا am asking the question of B from A.
It's 118.
طيب of A from B.
It's 298.
It's 298. What did you do يا فرح?
We added 118 with 180.
Excellent. This is the 180, and here we have the 118, and we simply just added these 2 angles. Excellent يا فرح. Thank you very much. Part C. يلا participants. هاي بلشوا يتصحصحوا الشباب. راما راما كيف حالك يا مس؟
الحمد لله.
Okay, you're fine?
Yeah.
Great. يلا help me with part C. What is the bearing of B from A?
16.
16. And the bearing of A from B?
It is 196.
It's 196. That is right. Thank you very much, Rama. Thank you. So here are the answers, and they were all right. Excellent. You did a great job, everybody. So any questions? والهدول الhands, they are just participations. If you have any question, I would love to hear your questions. في عنا أي سؤال؟ still عنا فرح, you raised your hand. Is that a question, Farah? If yes, please ask me. If not, okay, تمام. Yep. So this is how can we find the bearing. تمام. Discard. طيب. This is the first part of talking about bearing and scale drawing. Okay, I will stop the share of the screen. What I want from you, everybody, okay, we are left with 10 minutes. I will start with bearing and scale drawing. I think we have time. Yes, Munder, do you have a question, miss? Munder? Okay, he doesn't have a question. طيب, what I want from everybody, please go to school, get the booklet, okay, and start working. صبايا الامبارح, they got the booklet. Did you go through the exercises about probability? Did anyone go through the exercises of probability? رمضان, هلا, thank you. That's great. وكمان حلواني, thank you. تمام. وسيلينا, excellent. طيب, okay, for the rest, please go get the booklet. Let me just go. We can't minimize the Zoom. طيب, let's try to open this one. Here we are. مش عم بفتح. Okay. I'm just going to open the presentation for the second part, which is the second part we're talking about bearing and scale drawing. Okay, here we are. Yeah, we will just discuss the first exercise, and that's it for scale drawing. Yeah. هلا. Here we are back to our Zoom. Yes. Okay. So I will start sharing my screen. Let's go by the second part, which is how can we use scale drawing, okay, and bearing to find positions and to describe directions. This is the second presentation. Okay. And we were talking about, here we are, the first screen. Everybody got that? Everybody got the screen? في حدا مش شايف هاي السكرين؟ ما فتحها من زوم. Okay, let's share the screen again. تمام. يلا, let's share it again. I noticed that there were a mistake. Here we are. Okay. Things to remember. I think everybody now can see the screen. Yes. Please, if yes, just send me a thumb up. تمام نور. Great. ديرانية كيف حالك؟ ونزار؟ تمام. I'm really glad that everybody's here. Okay, things to remember. Things to remember about bearing. We're still talking about bearing. So some of the things that we need to remember, and bearing is a way of describing directions and distances. It's always due north and it's always in clockwise direction. The bearing should be written in 3 figures. To draw an accurate map, we should use appropriate scale. So also this is something very important. Drawing and using scales is very important. That was a question from the book, and we had to go through this link. This link, it was a video that we did. We just recorded for these. ماله؟ ليش مش عم بيفوت؟ يلا خلينا نجرب كمان. المفروض يفوت على هذا مش عم بيفوت. طيب كمان مرة. Here we are. Let's watch the video. بس بدنا دقيقة عم بعمل loading. Okay. Everybody can see the loading screen of YouTube. Can you? تمام. بشار. Okay, great. محمد الميرمي. Great. تمام. خلاص. Perfect. So we're waiting بس عشان يعمل loading لأنه صرنا فاتحين أكثر من إشي مع بعض. عمر, do you have a question, teacher? Do you have anything to say? هلا بفتح دقيقتين بس. مش عارفة إيش. Okay. هلا once it's not opening the video. Once the video is not opening,